Hello everybody, this is Anime, and welcome to my user review of the QK75 keyboard by QWERTY. Now this is my first time building a custom keyboard, as all my previous keyboards were pre-built, so that's the perspective I'm coming from. I've taken apart my keyboard before to add some foam and also lube the switches, so I'm not coming at this with zero knowledge either. So think of this as a review more from a beginner perspective. And for this review, I'll go into the build process slightly and then focus on the usability of the keyboard. So let's begin. So let's start off with saying that when I first heard about this keyboard, it sounded like my perfect board, checking all the boxes that I wanted. My wish list for features was a 75% layout with a knob. It had to have wireless connectivity, preferably a metal case, and gasket mount, so there's some flex to it. And then also south-facing switches, which really wasn't an issue with custom boards, but when I was looking around, I was looking at other pre-built as well, and sometimes they have north-facing ones. So really, the NJ80 that I had before fulfilled 3 out of the 5 conditions which I got, which is why I got it in the first place. But this board seemed to fulfill everything. There was one thing I wanted to confirm first. It was that it could be in wireless mode, being plugged in by a wire, and not use the included batteries. I confirmed this by asking the QWERTY rep on their Reddit post, and after they confirmed that, I put in my order, as I always thought that the QK board sounded pretty good from the videos I saw on this board in particular, and also the QK75 board, which came out a while back. The configuration I have right here was the wireless PCB in ice white, a sandblasted silver weight, a palm plate, and a blank silver knob. The knobs with the logos look cute, but I wouldn't be able to stand it for too long. So to go with them, I bought some alpaca linear switches as they were on sale during the holidays, and since I wanted to stick with linear switches, coming over from Gatoron Yellows, so that was my order. So, going over the build, overall it was quite easy for a beginner like me. QWERTY has a build guide that nicely lays out all the steps to building the board on their website. There were only 2 things that went a little wrong during the process. I did not follow the recommendation to put in the right key switches on the board in the beginning, so I think it recommends starting with the QWERTY, the QWERTY keys, and then the outsides and whatnot. I just went through all of them, and it caused my board to, I think, bow a little bit and be a little bit concave or convex. I don't know which direction is it, but it bowed a little bit. But overall, it still was fine. I ended up redoing it after 2 weeks anyways, although I didn't think it made much of a change. The other part was the clear washers that you use for the stabilizer screws on the board. They were very small and they were clear, so it made it a little bit of a issue. It made it quite challenging to put it on, and if you drop them, it's really hard to find them. I got better after doing a few, so it worked out fine. Overall, I think I would give this build process an A. Very easy for a beginner like me, and it worked out fine. Now let's go over usability, and overall I think that's a great aspect of this keyboard as well. First, in terms of layout, I think it's quite good. It has one more key here than my NJ80, with a key between the F12 and knob. That's pretty common for most 75% keyboards, and I use it for the print screen key as I take a lot of screenshots. It doesn't have the 4 keys on the side like some other 75%, like the GMMK Pro, but since I've never had it, I don't mind that much. The only minor gripe I have with the layout is that the knob is a bit close to the delete key, so it gets in the way if I try to turn it on with 2 fingers, which is what I used to do with the NJ80. However, the knob and encoder itself, it's very smooth, so 1 finger works just fine. In terms of software, QWERTY's QK config utility, which is used with the wireless PCB, it's also quite good. It allows you to set another layer on the keyboard using a modifier key, which is default here. It's pretty much the NF key for a keyboard, but I don't have an FN keycap that's this width, so I'm using just a control keycap. So this is my layout in QK config. I have the greater than and less than signs as my back and forward skip when I press the modifier key, and also Control M for mute. By default, pressing down the knob will actually mute, but I changed that to play pause and have it obviously set to volume. If I hold the modifier key, it will actually scrub when I use the knob. But so far I've only seen that work in Spotify, and the window has to be in focus. It can't be in the background. Next, let's talk about connectivity. So right now I have it wired to my PC, and that way I don't have to charge it, and it always has power. I actually didn't connect the batteries to the board in the first place when I was building it, as I didn't want to keep those batteries fully charged all the time, since I will be wiring it up to game on my PC. But like the QK rep his answer, it does work in wireless mode without the batteries connected. To switch to wireless mode, you press your modifier, which again is Control in my case, and press Tab, and then the corresponding keys will flash. So, it just connected. So Escape, when it's flashing, it means it's in wired mode. When 1, 2, 3 is flashing, it means it's in Bluetooth mode, and when number 4 is flashing, it means it's in 2.4 GHz mode. It's not that bright, but as you can see here, it is noticeable enough in person. One slightly annoying thing is that it will cycle through them no matter the case, and you can't choose one right off the bat. So the order is wired, Bluetooth, and then 2.4 GHz. So say you're in Bluetooth mode and you want to go wired, you'll have to press tab twice to cycle through 2.4 GHz and then wired mode. It's not a big deal, but it's worth mentioning because on the NJ80, I could choose directly which one I wanted to use. FN1 would be the Bluetooth device, FN4 straight to 2.4 GHz. This keyboard does let you connect to up to 3 Bluetooth devices, so 1, 2, 3. But you pick them using QWE, although you can change that in QK config software. In terms of wireless, I've only used this in Bluetooth mode since on my PC I use wired. And I have to say, the connection on Bluetooth is quite solid. On my NJ80, on rare occasion, it would skip some keys or register double presses, but so far with the QK75, that hasn't happened, and I've been using it for a month. I'm actually quite surprised that it works better than the NJ80, since that case is plastic, and theoretically speaking, it should have a better time getting the wireless signal through compared to this keyboard's metal body. Finally, let's go over the typing feel and sound. The feel of this keyboard is very, very nice. Let me try again here, disconnect. Especially compared to the NJ80, it feels very light to type on, and I'm not sure if it's because of the alpaca linear switches, which are lightly factory lubed, or because of the gasket mounting system, or it's because I over-lubed these switches on the NJ80, because that was my first time doing it. But I do feel that I can type a little faster on the QK75 just because how light the keys feel. I do think that there's not as much flex as I thought it would be. I'm not sure if this is because I used all the foam and the palm plate compared to the videos I've seen online where people are doing platelets and whatnot, but it takes quite a bit of strength, as you can see, to actually have the board flex. In terms of sound though, I have just one word to say for it, and it's wow. It sounds very clacky, very flock. I don't know if it's flocky or clacky, but it sounds like an old 80s keyboard, and compared to my NJ80, that one sounds straight up muted. I haven't done any mods to this board, and this is just what it sounds like with all the foam and a palm plate. So let me show you a comparison of the sound between this QK75, the NJ80 I had before, and the Philco Majestouch convertible. So in summary, I think this is my endgame keyboard. I don't think you can purchase this board right now since QWERTY Keys is now doing their QK80 group buy for a TKL style board. So you might want to look for that one if you like a TKL layout, or wait and see if there's any extras or if they would do a re-release of this group buy, which I really hope they do because I think it's a very nice board. So unfortunately you can't buy it right now and if you missed out, but I hope you enjoyed this review, and thanks for watching.